You said you support Roe v. Wade. Do you know what Roe v. Wade is?
I do.
Roe v. Wade was a decision in '73 that protected abortion through all 9 months of pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
So do you really support Roe v. Wade?
Well, I do, because I think people need to make these decisions among themselves and God. I think they need to pray and use their faith rather than use the government to impose that on them.
Okay, so like if I enslave the black person, do I need to make that decision between me and God, or should we use the government to end slavery?
Oh, that's a good point. I'll accept that.
Right? So like we protect human life. That's what the
Right.
Ten Commandments was about. Thou
Sure.
shalt not kill. And Jesus even says, like, and if anyone causes these little ones to stumble, and he's probably referring to Proverbs, where it says, rescue those who are stumbling to death.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, if anyone causes these little ones to stumble, it would be better for them that a millstone be tied around their neck and cast to the sea than to face my judgment.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how can we say as humans that we love anybody if we're going to sit by and do nothing while people are being literally killed and dismembered?
I'm curious, like, what does the goal look like for you as a Christian in
Yeah.
terms of abortion?
To do justice. Micah says, this is what I command you, to love mercy, walk humbly, to do justice,
Mm-hmm.
love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. And anybody that sits by and sits idly while members of the human family are literally dismembered. Did you see the photos of these babies that came out a week ago or a month ago, that these victims of late-term abortion at Cesare Sant'Angelo's down here at Washington Surgery Center?
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't agree with late-term abortion.
Well, but you just said you agreed with Roe v. Wade, which literally protected all 9 months of pregnancy and abortion at any gestational age on those 9 months.
Yeah, but I think we need that.
So you don't agree in dismembering babies, but we need that?
We need the government to allow people to communicate with their faith. And we need
To kill babies.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
But that is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, you're painting a very broad brush.
No, I'm
across the
being
entire
accurately, and I'm being honest.
issue. Okay.
What abortion does is dismember a human, a living human. The
So-
sheer humanity of their it defines them. I mean,
So when does a developing embryo become?
Science is unbelievably clear. You have Michelin Matthews Roth from Harvard Medical Center. You have Jaime Gordon from the Mayo Clinic. You have top leading geneticists. You have 96 to 98% of the entire biological polled recently in the last couple of years overwhelmingly is basic science that the process of human development begins at fertilization.
See, I think that's where I'm missing the mark a little bit. I honestly don't.
Well, I
believe
definitely
that.
think you are missing the mark, because that's what science says. Like, you don't think that science teaches that the process of human development begins at fertilization?
I think defining what a human life is inherently extremely complicated.
Well,
I am a scientist. I'm a physician assistant. I'm a medical scientist.
sure, and I'm a respiratory therapist. I take
Are you
care.
really?
Yeah, I am. So, I have a biological degree, but I mean, you don't even need that. Like, we took basic biology class that taught us the process of human development begins when?
Well, again, I mean, what is a conscious mind? What is a soul? What is a
But now
human?
in humbly, this is what you're doing. You're confusing human value with human function.
Okay.
So we all have different functions, right? You might have you probably have a way higher IQ than me, right?
I wouldn't go there,
But that doesn't mean that we're unequal,
Sure, of course.
right? So a toddler is less developed than me.
Right.
That doesn't mean I'm more valuable.
I totally agree
So
with that.
you're confusing human value with human function. So in this country, in this court, used to say that the human function that you had or some inherent quality determines your personhood or your value. And it used to be the color of your skin, the melanin content,
Sure.
right? But I hope you believe that the government should have gotten involved and ended that injustice.
Yeah, of course.
But for some reason, you're arbitrarily choosing one accidental property to ground some humans with rights and dignity while ignoring others based on their location or their size or their level of development or some external, arbitrary, accidental properties, whereas we should value all equal humanity, something we all possess, which is humanity. So if you have life and humanity, we should have equal value.
Well, no, I agree, and I think you're getting into.
But I don't think you do agree.
Well, let me explain.
Sure.
I mean, I
Okay.
think the divide that we're finding between us on this issue is part of the reason this is such a complex issue, and so part of the reason people have been disagreeing for so long. And I
Yeah.
think it's because we're both drawing things that feel like arbitrary lines, right?
No, I actually am not. I'm
You feel that your
saying
line is
biological
absolute.
science has already determined this. It's settled science. When does human life begin?
Well,
According to settled science, it begins at fertilization.
so I mean, the fully 40% of implanted embryos that are spontaneously aborted because of chromosomal abnormalities in the first trimester,
Sure.
right?
Okay.
I mean, there is a process of development where a single cell becomes a human being, in my view, right? And maybe
Okay.
you don't share that view.
So you're saying there's a process where a single cell becomes a human being. When is that?
Correct. I don't know. I don't.
Okay. Well, is it when a heart beats?
I don't believe so.
Is it when? Okay. So is it when you have fingers and toes?
I don't know.
Is it when you have a brain? You are confusing human value with human function. So we all have unequal levels of consciousness, levels of development. I can't dismember someone with a chromosomal abnormality that doesn't have the same level of development that I have or same level of consciousness that I have. But that doesn't give me the right to destroy their ability and rights to life just because they may be disabled or because they're less developed. You're choosing these categories of which humans based on some extrinsic factor that of your choosing as to whether or not someone has the ability to have the right to life. It's wholly inconsistent.
It's inconsistent by what measure, right?
By the measure that we are taking unequal values, unequal standards of which human lives are valuable and which ones that we can dismember.
Can I summarize what I think I'm hearing?
Sure.
So it sounds to me like you feel that, so at implantation, right, or whenever
No,
a
at
sperm and an egg meet,
fertilization.
right? So
Yeah.
at the time of fertilization,
Yeah.
a single cell is a fully formed human being.
That's what science says, yes.
And so at
Well,
any
not a
point,
fully formed human being.
well, a
the
human
process
being
of
with
human-
all the rights and
A
soul and
whole
humanity.
human
Right,
being
right,
begins, yeah.
Right. So then
You're not fully
claiming that
formed
I'm-
until you're
I'm
30 years
drawing an
old.
arbitrary line somewhere down the line in the process of development to then decide based on function. So you're
Yeah.
saying some humans that are less functioning, I would discard and abort.
Well, you could based on if you chose to, right? So we did this before with slavery, right? We said because of the melanin content, right?
Right.
Those are less than, they may be humans, but they're less than persons.
Right. And see, I think so the fundamental disagreement that I think we have is you believe that a sperm and an egg meeting to become a diploid embryo.
Well, I believe that
Is-
science
science
says the
says
process
that.
of
Okay.
human development begins there.
I'm really interested in the idea that you're talking about scientific principles as the core underpinning for, because I mean you're making an argument representing faith also, right?
Oh, sure, but they're one and the same. Like,
Yeah,
so,
I'll
yeah,
agree with you.
that's not, I don't believe in this Gnostic dualism that
Sure.
the body is less sacred than the soul is.
Right.
Right. So,
I'm just really, I don't know. I think, but again, I think the disagreement we're having is really the ground underpinning of the whole thing. Like I have a very hard time understanding where that belief of yours comes from, and I think you're having a hard time understanding where
well,
mine is
yeah.
coming
Well,
from.
I'm trying to understand why you think all human lives aren't valuable.
Well, it's because we're disagreeing on the definition of a human life.
But you agree that the process of human development in life begins with. I'd be willing to read some. I mean, some quote. I mean, I have them here somewhere. Here, hold on. I mean, you've probably read this before, but just so, I mean, I can read a couple quotes to you,
Yeah,
so
please.
this is from the Harvard Medical School, University, Michelin. I actually mentioned this guy before, Michelin Matthews Ross.
Yeah, you did.
After fertilization has taken place, a new human being has come into being. There is no longer a matter of taste or opinion. Each individual has a very neat beginning at conception. Professor Jaime Gordon, Mayo Clinic, another guy I mentioned. Scientifically correct to say that an individual human life begins at conception. By all criteria of modern molecular biology, life is present from the moment of conception. Dr. Watson A. Bowes, the University of Colorado Medical School. The beginning of a single human life is from a biological point of view, a simple and straightforward matter, the beginning of conception. The Landrum Shettles, pioneer in sperm biology, fertility, and sterility, discover male and female producing sperm. I oppose abortion. I do so first because I accept what is biologically manifest, that human life commences at the time of conception. And second, because I believe it is wrong to take an innocent human life under any circumstance. So, I mean, I guess my question is, do you disagree that the process of human life begins at conception in light of what you just read?
Emphatically so, yes, I do.
So you think that all of these professors, geneticists, everybody's wrong?
I think the question of human life and being, consciousness and soul, I think
Those are two different things.
Well, okay,
Human life,
explain that to me.
a biologically distinct, live human begins when?
A biologically distinct live human.
Yes.
Again, I think we're getting terms confused, right? I think a fertilized egg is a living cell. I think that's something with the potential to
it's a
become
living
a human
cell.
being.
Is it a human
I don't think so.
cell? It is a human cell.
It is a human cell.
Okay, it's a human cell.
Yes.
Is it genetically distinct from its mother?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so it's a distinct, genetically distinct human living cell.
Yes.
Okay. Is it a living human cell?
Yes.
Okay. So how is that not a human life? It's if it's biologically distinct human cell.
So-
Developing cluster now of cells.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Right. Has it ever had a thought?
That's irrelevant. There's a lot of people that
Is that irrelevant? I don't feel that way.
Do you
So
mind if I listen?
No, not at all.
Can I ask one question?
yeah.
This doesn't exist. The moment the egg is fertilized, it's no longer an egg.
Yeah, so that's
Just a
what
thought.
that's what we're talking about right now.
No
We're
longer an
we're
egg.
getting into it.
We're leaving already?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, nice to meet you, man. Sorry
Yeah,
we
likewise.
couldn't agree, but at least
I'm happy to talk to you.
Yeah, yeah,
Look,
yeah, for sure.
I think this is a thing that we need to talk about as people.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
I mean, I respect you. I respect where you're coming
So, excuse me, I might be back.
Okay, what
Hold
was
on.
your name?
I'm AJ. Yours name?
AJ,
Yours?
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah.